everyone, and welcome to another episode of Justin and the Food Entrepreneurs Podcast. I'm Justin Bizzarro. I'm your host, and that's Bizzarro. And today I have with us the Cocina del Corazon, Enrique Soriana and Jazmin Pena. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing good. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much. We're great.
And you guys are located out of Oakland, California. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So tell us a little bit about your journey. I mean, you have your own food business now, but tell us a little bit about your journey and how you guys got to where you are into being food entrepreneurs.
Well, I come from a background of mostly self-employed entrepreneurs, stemming back from my family's native country of Mexico. They've always had their own businesses. When my mother immigrated here to the United States, she did start working at first at McDonald's and at the Coliseum. She used to do odd jobs until she started her own business at a flea market. And after that, she opened her store, and after the store, she opened a food truck. My mother and my father together, and we were born into the family of business. And when we were little, my brothers and I would work. And I've been in the food industry. I like to tell people I've been since I was 12 because I've always been in the food truck, and my family put us in there, and we worked, and we saw the ropes. We learned how to turn a profit, pretty much, how to buy something at a price and triple your money, or even quadruple, just depending on what you sold. And after that, the food interest always stuck with me for that, and traveling back and forth to Mexico, the food there as well, and seeing the food businesses there, and food always struck my interest. So when I was 18, I decided to go to culinary school, and during that time I was working at different restaurants in San Francisco, the Slanted Door, and a couple other ones. And once I graduated, I went to Sequoia National Park and started working for Delaware North companies. And from there, I just started, thinking about what I wanted to do. It was a corporate environment, and I got to meet the chef, the certified master chef, Roland Hinnon, and he's the chef in charge of the whole company. From there, I worked there for about 3 years, and my main goal was to climb the ranks and to be somewhat of a big figure as a chef in that company. But what I really quickly realized and was really disheartened about the corporate, the huge corporate, and us being in a national park, about the food quality just wasn't up to par with what I was wanting to do, which was more fresh, more things made from scratch, more sustainable, more green in practice. And so I left. I sat down and talked to Chef Roland, because one day, I was called out, and I was called into a meeting with him because he was visiting a bunch of the restaurants that they own, Delaware North Company, and I was brought to his attention. And so he sat me down in a meeting and asked me what I saw myself with the company and what I wanted to do. And so I just told him that I liked the company and I wanted to move on up, and I wanted to change a lot of things that I saw was wrong with, especially the national park that I was working with. They would use chicken stock that came in a bucket, and it was powder, and it was like a fluorescent neon yellow, and certain things like that. And I was, I brought to his attention, you're a master chef, and I don't know why we can't, order chicken bones, and I kind of told him what direction I kind of wanted to change the company, especially that restaurant. And he sat me down. He looked at me directly in the eye, and he told me quite straight out, and quite frankly, he told me to quit. He told me to move on, and he said, wasn't a good fit. And looking back on it, I think it was one of the best advice I could have gotten, because I feel like I wouldn't have been happy, especially working with food that didn't seem to have a lot of heart. It was more about turning a profit more than actually serving good quality food. It was like a turn and burn type of situation. And so it took me about a month to finally quit, because at first I was quite flabbergasted about what he told me, but he really meant it in all sincerity, and I think looking back at it, he was really looking out for my best interest. And so I quit, and I came back to San Francisco and started working in various different restaurants. I worked for different chefs. I bounced around quite a bit. I changed my MO to working no more than a year in different places, and I just bounced around, trying to absorb and trying to learn and moving on up. And I went to Big Sur and became the executive chef there, and I went to San Francisco again. I worked for Nopalito, and became a sous chef for that company. And I worked with Delfina and Chef Craig for La Conda as well. And he's more of an Italian type of business entrepreneur, so he had different Italian restaurants. So I worked with him for a while. Then I moved to the catering aspect, because with Left Coast Catering, which is a really great fine dining upscale company with Chef Lorraine Wickett. And from there, I just saw something. I was like, this is what it is. This is where I think I would feel most comfortable, is in catering, because my whole life I've been doing restaurants, and once I saw how catering was and how different the environment was and how much more space to move around we could do, that's when I figured, this is what it is, full scale. Because in between all that, I was always doing a little bit of side hustles, which involved catering for family and friends, and for people who would ask for caterers, and I would always do it on the side. And even for a while, me and my brother ran a food truck little enterprise for about a year, and we went from place to place doing pop-ups, and we got a really good response out of that. But that was still a lot of hard work, and I met my girlfriend right after I left working with Chef Craig Delfina. I met my girlfriend, Jazmin, Pena. Especially, I met her during my last days at Delfina, which was really funny. And we started going out as I was working with Chef Lorraine Wickett, and I was always doing my own hustle. And slowly but surely, I went from working full time to working part time to leaving my job completely and starting my own company. And I had a little first draft of one, and I just knew from there I was just going to keep evolving and keep changing. And when my girlfriend came into the picture, she ended up leaving her job and not being employed, and she was helping me in the past with my personal adventures, and she started to come in more and more, and from there she was like, I think I just want to go at this full time with you. And she explained she was down for the ride, and we worked on our logos together, and we worked on the name together, and our business was born. And I'll let her take it away and give her her.
So I don't have a food background. I am a lover of food, and I always thought of especially being in a place like the Bay Area and Francisco. We are exposed to so many different cultures and so many different and great restaurants and food. So I always, took pride on knowing, trying every restaurant at least once, or, going to places that gave me a different experience. For me, food was always great food, but how was the experience? How what did I enjoy about eating at a certain restaurant. So for me, when my partner Enrique decided to start his company full time, I was interested. I'm like, well, I like food, and I also like to be creative, and I wanted to be a part of something bigger that I knew would be something that we could help build together. So for me, with my background on being a little bit of a foodie and my background in managing other people's companies for a long time, I felt like I was empowered to be able to do more for our company. And like Enrique mentioned, it began with sitting down in our bedroom and with a note, with a notebook and a pencil and just drawing out different ideas. We'd tear out a piece of paper and start again. And that's how we started with our name, with the logo, with the colors. It was all collaborative effort between the two of us. And that's where I flourish, was being able to, create the logo and what colors go well together, and even the small details like the way we display our food, or, the type of wooden baskets and accessories that create the whole experience. Because I would always think like, yeah, the food is amazing. Everyone would vouch for the amazing food, but what else besides the food are people looking for? And for us, creating that experience, that complete cohesive look was really important. And that's where I'm very lucky. I don't have a food background, but I am able to use all of the different jobs and careers that I've held through the years, all blended in to give me a lot of tools to be able to comfortably run a business. And I think that was that's the best part of being an entrepreneur, is to say, okay, yeah, I might have waited 10 years to start my own business, but throughout those 10 years, I did a lot of X and Y, and how can you use those skills to develop your own passions and your own business?
Well, and I love what you both have said, actually. And the part that I love the most is actually, it's because it's become part of your name, is I believe it translated as Kitchen of Heart, or Heart Kitchen. Is that correct?
Yeah, Kitchen of the Heart.
And both of you have said that you wanted something to do that, represented your heart, and you served good food, and it was from the land, and represented you guys, and it just, the name is so fitting for it. Plus, obviously, your Hispanic background, and things like that. But it's just so amazing what it does for you guys, and then the story that I hear with you guys, and how it kind of, like, the name really represents the two of you. I mean, it's your relationship, it's your business, it's the way that you guys feel about food. It's also what food does to people, which is, food is often a place where loving ones come together to eat, even if it's in catering or things like that. It's people that you have in your life and have relationships with. So that's really amazing. So tell me, so you guys obviously do this together. How long ago did you start this?
Enrique?
Well, like I said, I've always been catering on the side for quite a long time. At first, it always was friends and family, but as word of mouth grew, people have always seemed to recommend me and to pass the word along. And as people started calling me more, I decided to kind of make make it a side business, and as a side business, I noticed that it was starting to gain traction, and I decided that I wanted to formalize the business because I was kind of it was going good. It was doing cash and working good. Sometimes I would get some checks, but I was really wanting to formalize a business that we could grow, that we could actually secure more of a future. Because when I was doing it as a side business, I was always still working with other companies and other corporations, and during that time, my mentality was trying to absorb as much as I can and try to grow and try to learn and try to see what opportunities would arise. And from growing in companies, I finally realized that the best thing for me to do would be to start my own business, because I was working really hard and really struggling really hard for other people.
Yeah, I think that's
and that's when, so the business pretty much started, I guess, when I was working with people on the offside, because people would always, the word of mouth has followed us throughout these years. So we pretty much started Cocina de Corazon, I want to say 2 years ago, officially.
Well, I think it's amazing, and so, I mean, tell me about how do you guys, do people come to you? Do you go to people? How do you get the name out there, and how do you find events to cater?
So what we've done is when I say we, I mean my girlfriend has established a really strong social media presence within Instagram, because we figure that most of our target demographic tends to use more of Instagram. But that does not mean we ignore other aspects. We do have Facebook as well. We have a Yelp listing. We found that Craigslist tends to work quite well, because with Craigslist, you have all factors of society looking at it. So you have from the upper echelon to the lower echelon always checking through Craigslist, and we've had quite a bit of success with that. And another thing we've done is we've researched quite a lot. My girlfriend spends countless of hours watching YouTube videos, reading articles online, and I also do the same. And we learned about SEO, or search engine optimization, and I pretty much went through a bunch of listings and tried to create listings on different sites like Bing, Google, Yahoo, MapQuest, and just to and Thumbtack as well, just to kind of broaden our SEO, our search, just to optimize how our credibility online, and I see that as help. And for us, reaching our market is has kind of evolved. We've learned as we've grown, because obviously when we first started, the most important thing for us was to show people what we were doing. So we started off as a pop-up type of situation, which we believe helped to garner kind of a momentum and visibility. And with that, we started to kind of advertise more to what we wanted to our target audience to be, who's more of the upper echelon, who crave great quality service, which we're really looking.
Another thing I'd want to add is what I saw most frequently was, as Enrique mentioned, having an online presence is really important, and it creates like a validation, when people see that, oh, this person has X amount of followers, it gives that company a certain type of validation. But something that took me longer to learn, because I didn't come from a food background, was the best marketing you can do as a small business is the marketing you do during the event. So you yourself, so we show up to an event to do catering. We're both wearing a uniform, which is a typical shirt from Mexico that was bought in Mexico, traditional clothing, what we know is traditional and what we know is authentic. And we show up, we have decor, we set up not just the food, but the whole presentation for everyone to feel like, yes, this is not. I'm not just getting food. I'm getting a complete experience. Sometimes we are the only decor at a party. We are the only thing that they've really spent the money on. Everything else, they're like, yeah, we're just going to have a party on this deck, facing the Oakland Hills, and that's it. And you are the show. You are the
centerpiece.
So for us, something I learned, yes, you can have thousands of followers, you can pay for advertisement, but the best way that someone will truly know what your business is about is the way you treat them when you are at the event. You have to be personable, you have to charm them, and you have to be genuine.
And highly professional.
When people see that energy and they feel it and they see that their chef is smiling and happy to be there, and there's people that are going a step above to make sure that they are having a good time, that whole package sells itself. And I would say that a lot of our repeat clientele comes from word of mouth. Sometimes we'll have a party and 5-6 months later we get a call. It's like, hey, remember me? We met at Jamie's party 5 months ago. Just last month we had a party, and we've met a guest who was part of another party that we catered 7 months ago, and she recognized us. She's like, hey, I've had this amazing food before at this other party. So for us, that's something, or for me, that's something that I slowly but surely realized, that you and the way you talk to your clients and your guests, it's what can make or break the business.
Well, and I think it's so important as well, because you're building actual relationships with the people, and that's the thing that's actually spreading the word, is that you're showing it to them when you're there and in the events and things like that. So I think that's so great that you're doing it. And just because the audiences know what kind of, and we're talking about the events, but do you always concentrate on Mexican style food? Or, I mean, tell us about what your catering menu looks like, or is it customizable, and how you go about that?
Yeah, we create Mexico-California cuisine, and that's what we've coined our style of cuisine, which incorporates traditional Mexican dishes with the farm-to-table California twist. So we took, we're both California natives, we're both Chicanos, first-generation Mexican Americans. So we grew up, Enrique especially, having our grandmas and our mothers cook all of our meals. And we truly wanted to provide the cuisine that we feel most proud of and most comfortable with, and being a blend of Mexican traditional food, but with that California fresh and organic, to us just was a no-brainer. So, yes, our cuisine consists of mostly Mexican Californian, but Enrique, as a chef, he's always played around, talk about that? Well, he's always played around with different elements of food and ingredients. But yes, typically it's Mexican Californian, and we do everything from a plated service. So we've had events where it was a 6-course menu, and we also do for first birthdays for someone's loved one, or a retirement party. We do everything.
And I mean, so within the Mexican California style food, I mean, what does it consist of? I mean, is it tacos? Is it, empanadas? I mean, I don't know. So, for clarity, what type of food is that? So give us, actually, let's do this. What's an example of a recent event you did? Tell us about the event, and then tell us about what food you served at the event, because I think that'll give the audience a full perspective of what you guys do, and sort of a microcosm of how you guys go about it.
Perfect. So, like Jazmin was saying, we are a full service catering company, and we are specialized. We have a super niche program where we specialize in what we coined Mexico California, and what we tend to do is we really personalize every event. Every single event is different, and in a way that we always have a sort of consultation with the host, and we kind of pick the brain on what kind of event is happening, what's special about the event, who will be in attendance of the event, and we kind of pick their brains. And for example, the last event that we had was for a fundraiser for a film called A Place to Breathe. And this film is about the disparities in health among low-income communities, and how to go about aiding and helping out the situation through cultural emphasis, cultural awareness, and portraying change through their culture. For example, instead of telling people how to eat a healthier type of salad or healthy salad, say, okay, let's take your unhealthy food and let's make it healthy. And so what I did was with that emphasis, I created a menu to reflect the Fruitvale community, which is based here in Oakland, which was one of the main focuses of this film, and kind of take the food that is readily available in the Fruitvale and kind of give it my healthy twist, and also presented it to everybody that was in attendance of this fundraiser to showcase the cuisine of Fruitvale of Oakland. And what we did for that event was we made little tortas that consist of refried black beans, which isn't really refried. No extra oil was added. It's never fried. No lard. Completely vegan, with pickled red onions, queso fresco, which makes the torta not vegan anymore. And we also made a molcajete red salsa. And so those were little bites that were offered. We had a couple of stations that involved an esquite station, which is an esquite is a traditional Mexican street food, which is corn off the cob with a little bit of aioli, queso seco, and a dried chili powder. So we had those made a la carte for the guests. And we also had a tostada station, which is a station where we had tostadas that were built to order, which consisted of a chicken breast tinga. It's a super traditional Mexican, I would say, shredded chicken breast simmered in a chipotle sauce. And we also had pickled red onions, sour Mexican crema, queso fresco, and as well as wild arugula. And so, apart from that, we also made tamalitos. These are small little tamales that we stuffed with a mix of different kind of mushrooms that we were able to source here. Portobellas, enoki mushrooms, and a wide variety with bell peppers and poblano chilies, Anaheim chilies, also with a medley of chilies. And we put that into the tamale. And so we prepared every small bites in a manner that guests could walk around and lounge and talk and be able to eat, but still feel like they're at a service, fully served place, because we provided a little bit of a show, because we are really big on experience. We believe that we're just not selling food also selling an experience. We're selling a talking piece. We're selling something that people will remember and talk. And we want to elevate an event, and the way we do that is by personalizing every event and trying to get to as connected as possible to the type of event. And in this case, they were really happy. This was for a bank. The bank organized this, and they're really excited about the menu and how closely it related to the film and the end clause of the film, which was to help people eat healthier, or with health. And all the steps that we took in preparing the food was with health emphasis. For example, the tostadas weren't fried; they were baked, and we used all lean chicken breasts, and there was no other meats besides, mostly was vegetarian. And so that was for that specific event, and I would say it was quite a success.
That experience must have been amazing. I'm just like, to be able to take a menu and then apply it to the thing in Fruitvale, Oakland, is just such a place with such diverse food and diverse group of people and things like that, as Oakland is becoming more and more. And it's just so cool that you were able to be a part of that event through living your entrepreneurial dreams.
Oh yeah, and that's I think is one of the best things about being entrepreneurs and our own business owners, is that we have the power and the ability to choose what events we work with or who we work with and what we do, and that choice we feel has a strong impact. That's why we choose to work in a green manner. We try to work in a way that impacts Earth as minimally as possible. That's why we tend to source organically. We tend to source locally, because the amount of distance that food tends to travel, nobody really equates that with the carbon footprint, at least behind, with all the oil it takes to transport and all the stuff that goes into the huge agricultural business with all the pesticides and for us, it's important as business owners to acknowledge that the choices we make have a bigger impact than if we were a smaller household. Which is why, for example, if a small family decides to use plastic plates for their one event of 20 states, that may be only 40 plastic plates that go in the garbage. For example, if we decide to use plastic plates for one of our events, that could be hundreds and hundreds of plastic plates going in the garbage. Which is why we decided that it's important to use compost to work in the way that we do, because it's the way that that we can lead by example, that we can kind of be forerunners in this industry that's always changing, and we know that in order to survive in the industry, you always have to be in the cutting edge, and you always have to be a step ahead of the crowd. And for us, it's not just trying to be a step ahead of the crowd. For us, it's just the right thing to do, and for us, it's important to do what we believe is right, which is why one of the biggest reasons that we're happy as entrepreneurs, that we can make those decisions, that we can do things that we feel more comfortable doing and operating the way we feel is the best way to operate.
I love the eco side of it, because what you're saying is so true. As things keep going, people want more and more friendly, and if you're doing healthier food, naturally with healthier food goes what's healthier for the land also, and that includes the waste, the plates, the forks, the knives, the things like that. So I love that you guys are doing that, and California is obviously one of the places on this planet that's really pushing that kind of environment. And so when you source products for your catering events, like, how do you source the products? I mean, I guess you probably come up with a menu first, and we just discussed one of the menus you came up for the event in Fruitvale. But, I mean, do you come with the menu and then you go source the product? And then where do you get your supplies from?
So when we create a menu, we always think about the seasons. And so, if we always look at the month that they're trying to, whatever month it is or whatever time of the year, we always plan the menu around the season, and we tend to source most of our food from either the farmers market or a local food health store, depending on the size of the party. And for us, I think that's one of the biggest things that I learned working with the restaurants in San Francisco, where especially Nopa with Chef Lawrence Jossel, that he would go to the farmers markets and pick up things in bulk. He would go to the farmers market, taste almost everything. Whenever he saw something new that was fresh and that he thought was the best, he would get a case of it, even though it wasn't on his shopping list. And I was truly inspired by that. And for us, we obviously aren't doing it at such a big scale that he was and still is doing. But we still take that model of going directly to the farmers market and talking with the purveyors and for me, that's one of the best things. We get to learn so much more about the food that we don't actually think about. About the weather and how the season affects the produce, and how moisture in the air and all these things. And for us, that's a great learning process, and it's a way for us to extend that information with our guests, and sourcing products from people like this, you feel so much better, because in the long run, you're keeping the money and the cash flow within the community, and you're also helping out to grow a segment in agriculture that really needs to grow, that really needs to flourish, that really needs more focus. And for us, sometimes we also source in bigger restaurant supply stores that have some of the equipment that we need, and et cetera. So for sourcing each event, we always source differently, because each event is different. Each event has different ingredients. We really sometimes we really have to search, seek, and destroy type of mission. We really have to find the correct ingredient. For example, there's a mole that I made called mole amarillo, and I was really adamant that I had to find this herb, and it's called hoja santa. And it was really hard to find. And I finally contacted my father. I was like, "Can you help me find this herb?" And he was like, I let me ask. And he asked my mother, and at one point, somebody was within earshot, and they heard it. He was like, "Oh, you can get it here, but I have some in my backyard growing as well." So my father went and bought me some of the hoja santa, but we also built a connection with somebody who grows some in their backyard. And this herb is extremely hard to find. It's native to the southern region of Mexico, and you don't really see it everywhere. So it's pretty exciting sometimes when we find a good source. Pretty hard, but I think it's well worth it. And I feel like once we're bigger and we grow bigger as a company, we'll be able to make deliveries and have bigger orders and kind of hold some stuff. But as of now, everything that we source is always used the next day, and it's super fresh. And we kind of like this model, and we're trying to see, hopefully it'll grow bigger.
And so when you guys do event, is it only the two of you that work it? Because I got to imagine that you probably have to bring in employees or people to help out. And how do you go about doing that?
So we are a two person company. We handle pretty much everything right now, because we're pretty much still in that phase where we can. That is, we formalize our own LLC. We went through all the processes of licensing and permitting all on our own. We've actually went through a few business classes together, and
something I want to add. Although we're a two-person team, we take our strengths and we base our workload from that. So I'm much of the admin, the invoicing, the marketing, the customer service support. I'm that end of it. So for me, it's that's my full-time job. You know, the Yelp messages that I have to get to, the creating templates for emails for potential clients and proposals. That's all my end of it. And Enrique has his end of the business that he mostly handles, and that's the food part. But
for the most part, when we come to those logistics, it really takes us a long time of planning. From the moment that we get the event booked, we start breaking down what needs to be done. And I've been in the industry for quite enough time to know how much things will take me and how long a process is. And it is quite daunting the first time to handle big parties on your own. But it's good to know that my girlfriend always helps me, especially she's my mini sous chef. But when the party is big during day off, we tend to count on our friends and families. We'll have them on board, especially family members who are trying to be more involved with businesses, because we want to kind of show them that it can be done. And for the most part, we've been employing our brothers and our friends, and we believe that's, as we grow, we find that to be one thing that we really like, is being able to support people who need the support, who appreciate the help, the work, and for us to be able to say, okay, we want to help out this group of people who really need it. We're creating a job, and it feels good that right now the small jobs that we do create, it feels great. And as so far, we do most of the things on our own. It takes a lot of planning. It's a logistical nightmare, you can say sometimes. And when it comes 48 hours before the event, I'm pretty much working from early in the morning to late at night, making it happen, because of how we do it.
And something I want to add, the most rewarding feeling I've ever had as a business owner was when we did hire a group of staff, and we were done with the event, and it was the next day, and it was payroll. And that moment as a business owner, the both of us were sitting there and we're thinking about everything that our employees for that day did, and all of the help that they really provided us with. And when it came time to provide them with their paycheck, we didn't ever think, all right, what's the minimum wage guideline? You know, what can we get away with? Not once did that cross our mind. We really thought, what would I want to receive after that type of work day? What is something that's going to make me happy to receive this pay and to feel appreciative and appreciated, and make me want to do it again and even work harder. So for us, that was the best part of the times we did have employees, was to really let people know how much we appreciated. And we found that with that motto and with those ethics, people do tend to work harder for you, and with more, they have a drive, they have this drive for you because they know that they are in a team that cares about them. So we look forward to expanding more so that we can have many, many employees that feel that way.
So there's two parts that I want to really discuss. I love how happy you guys are to create jobs and create opportunities for people. And I love that within those opportunities that, you're finding people that really are appreciative of work and just work ethic. because it's such a good thing to have people that actually want to work and work hard and are appreciative for any extra work they can get and the dollars they can make. But the other part is that it's fair. And I love that because you want to pay the employees what they'd be happy with. At the end of the day, if they're happy, they're coming back again to work for you guys, right? And the other part is happy employees actually spread the word about your business. You know, and unintentionally, like, oh my God, I had this great business and I worked at this catering. So next thing you know is like, oh, I was talking to someone that worked for you once at this event and they were so happy. So I decided to give you a call. And next thing you know, you guys have business. And that's so amazing. And so, like, really, it goes back to your name yet again. Like, you guys are so heartful. Like, what you're doing comes such from your heart and such from a good place. And I'm actually so happy you guys are on this podcast because I really love what you guys are doing and the message that you guys are putting out there and the heart you not only put into your food but to your business.
Thank you. We feel like that is definitely the direction that not just small companies but bigger companies are moving towards too. We know that CEO back in 1998 is different from 2018, you know, so the whole mentality is different, you know, whereas back in 1998, CEO mentality would have been, you know, more of a pyramid type of mentality where the head honcho knows best. Now, CEOs are saying, all right, what can we learn from our employees, you know, let's be more open, let's be more, you know, let's be more level with, you know, there doesn't have to be such a hierarchy, such a, you know, very huge focus on hierarchy all the time. We have to be somehow provide opportunity and movement and space for the employees to put in their 2 cents, or, you know, to think about the quality of life of employees as well, not just always the end result of the dollar. Because like my girlfriend was saying, if your employees are much more happier, production is a lot better. At the end of the day, you will make money.
And it's so great that you guys see it, and that you also the empowering of your employees, like giving them say in your business and making them feel that they're a part of it. I love that. And actually, I just want to pause real quick, and I want to continue down this road, but will you guys tell the audience where they can find you on all the social media outlets you guys are on, as well as your website and phone number? So if someone's out in California, in the Oakland, San Francisco Bay Area, and they're interested in your products or your services, and having an event catered, that they can reach out to you guys?
Yeah, of course. We are Cocina del Corazon, and we can be found on social media at Cocina del Corazon Oakland. And we do have a website, and we can be reached at 510-863-4722. And we are very we're always looking to interact with clients and with our guests, and we always encourage them to tag their food, tag us on the experience that they had. And that's something else that we love. We love hearing back from our clients. A lot of times we don't expect any reviews, but when we do get them, it's always such a positive for us to just see that someone took that extra time to reach out to us. And there's also we are on Yelp as well. So yeah.
Okay, so now back to the sort of the business concept. And I mean, you're creating a culture within your business. I mean, all the way from the shirts and, like you said, you're marketing at every event, to making sure the employees are happy so they are happy during your event, to the food and the quality of the food and the freshness of the food that you're serving, as well as the experience and making sure that it's environmentally safe, your waste, all the way to, you know, serving great food and having this sort of mentality of doing everything from the heart, which backs up your name. I mean, that's so incredible. And I mean, so you started to talk about it a little bit, but I mean, what is the future of your business? I mean, and are you seeing you guys, I mean, summer's coming up. Do you get busier during the summer? And sort of tell us all about that.
Well, for us, as we grow our business, where we see ourselves really is growing into a more into a bigger company. That for me, that'll include having obviously more jobs during the week. Right now, we have about 2 or 3 jobs a week, which is really good. Definitely a lot bigger than where we started from once a week. And now we're filling in more dates in between the weekdays as well. And in the future, where I see us working in is a lot more into the corporate aspect with corporate offices and setting up contracts with lunches. We see ourselves having our own kitchen, our own headquarters kitchen, where we can have a fleet of maybe 3 or 4 company vehicles. We can have our own full-time staff. We have our own full-time sales team. We have our own admin team. We have our own payroll. We have somebody handling our taxing, our CPA. We see ourselves being able to deal with bigger companies with their needs, with their high-end needs, especially companies like Google with more private kind of events. We definitely, for us, our goal is to be a power player. Pretty much, we want to be able to be big enough to show other companies and other places that are another way of working in such sustainably and green and more holistic manner and practices with everyone. And that's where we want to be, hopefully the next 2 years.
And so we've talked about that, but what are some of the hardships that you guys are facing in your business now as being entrepreneurs, and what do you see as some of the hardships that you guys will have to go through to achieve those dreams?
I think one of the biggest hardships that we've incurred so far has been our target demographic. How to go about reaching them, and how to go acquiring those set of eyes, and how to go acquiring that business. And for us, what we learned is to kind of take it in a stepping stone kind of method, where we started with pop-ups. And with these pop-ups, we were working certain venues like bars and other stuff. And with that first stepping stone, we garnered a lot of eyes and a lot of word of mouth. But what we realized right away is that we weren't getting the type of clientele that we really were expecting, because our pricing was definitely a lot higher than what is offered. And we did that on purpose, because that is our target demographic. We do offer a better service and a more of an upscale service, and so for us, that first audience that we were captivating, we realized right away that it was harder to get jobs, because we weren't getting as many jobs, because we were getting more people getting turned away from the pricing. We noticed that we just weren't getting the attention of who we wanted to get the attention from. And so what we kind of started to do actually is turning away jobs purposely, because at first we were taking them because on a kind of we need to kind of basis. And after a while, after we felt like, we have to turn away these jobs and kind of just wait till we get the clientele that we really need. And sure, we started to get them little by little. But that's when the next stepping stone started, was that we started to get more little word of mouth from these little parties that we've done and from there we started to really throw more focus on our Instagram, with taking pictures of those events, because prior to that, most of the content was from pop-ups and to a different style of service. And so what we wanted to do was actually capture what our true potential was. And so with these more elaborate events, we were able to showcase what our abilities and to capture those abilities and show that through our website, and to have people take pictures and share that with their friends. And we noticed that the word of mouth in those circles started to spread. And so now that what we're noticing now coming into the summer is that our target demographic is starting to respond to us. So we definitely learn how important it is to really speak to your audience and how to speak to your audience. And we're still learning. We're still doing research, and our next phase, the next stepping stone, is to actually go to where we believe our target audience is, and kind of market ourselves that way. To go to either events or neighborhoods where we expect our clientele to be, and putting our voice and our name out there. And so I think that's just been one of our biggest learning lessons. Is that you want to add something else? I feel like another thing that we've been learning a lot is the whole legalities of it. Like I said, we formalized our LLC on our own, and it's taken a lot of research. It takes a lot of money, but that money is not an expense; it's an investment, and we really learned that how much it really takes and how much you need to stay afloat, because there's a minimum annual tax fee for an LLC, and you have to do your quarterly filing with the sales tax. So all of this has been a learning process, and one thing we're still learning is how to take money out of our company. How do we go about paying ourselves? How do we leave proper paper trails that correlate with our bank statements to show our P&Ls and so forth, and that has been a huge learning curve for us as well. As parties come up, you learn new things. For example, when one party asks us for insurance, we're like, okay, that's not a requirement to start a business, but we learn right away, why not? Let's get insurance. We insured our business, and that opens the door to a lot more business that we wouldn't have otherwise had. And we learn along the way, and with each and every event that we have, we want to make it better. And so each one is a learning curve. And one thing that we know for sure is that we'll never stop learning, and we have to be humble in a way to accept that we're not all knowing, and that we're not as, I don't want to say as strong, but we're not as I don't know how to say it properly, but to remain humble, to remain open, to listen, and to take in criticism. So.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that are so important as an entrepreneur, is just have an open mind, and it's never personal. It's just an opportunity for improvement. It's another growing experience, and every piece of feedback is an opportunity to grow and learn and things like that. So it's pretty amazing what you guys are doing. And it's so cool because we sort of connected through social media, but the opportunity, I can't tell you how thankful I am that you guys have come on the podcast and shared your story, and it's been amazing.
Thank you. Really appreciate the opportunity. That's another thing we definitely learned, was to use these platforms to talk with people, to show what we're about. Because one thing that we really learned that's extremely important nowadays, especially with the new buying power going to millennials, is that millennials tend to shop with their hearts. That millennials really, really care about a story. With so many products and so many services being thrown at them, they really want to make more of a conscious choice than what our parents did and what their parents did. There's a mental shift in shopping power, and the people who have the most amount of money right now are millennials, and they're really shopping with their hearts, like I said. And for us, is that one thing that we've learned is that people will pay attention more the more they know your story, and that's another lesson that we learned as far as marketing goes, as far as that, it's really important to tell your story, and I think that's one area that we were lacking in and we're really improving on.
And I also want to thank you for having a platform for us entrepreneurs to be able to tell our stories. We feel so strongly about encouraging other small businesses. We're fortunate enough to not be the only business owners in our group of friends. We tend to have social gatherings, and our social group is majority small business owners. So for us, it would be a disservice to be a business, whether it's big or small, and not to share the little bit or a lot of bit of knowledge that we might have to share with others that might not have the opportunity to talk with people that are entrepreneurs and are running their own businesses. So for us, we always believe there's strength in community and coming together as young entrepreneurs and talking with others and sharing ideas and information. That's how we believe we can be more successful, by sharing our successes and our story and information with others, and then getting that feedback back from them too. And the fact that you've created a space for others to learn, and it's something that it's truly special. So thank you.
Yeah, and I want to add to that is that's one thing that we see is very important, because as we've said before, we're from Oakland. We're both from East Oakland. We're from the area of Oakland that's been disenfranchised, and it's a we're from low income backgrounds, low income neighborhoods, and we've seen the struggle. We know the struggle, and for us, it's very important to show people what two young Latinos can get out of, and to be an inspiration for others, especially my little brothers and my friends and anybody in our community and outside of the community, because we feel like the impact as being leaders is to show people what you can do and that it's possible. And for us, that's what is really important for us to do what we do, because we want to be an inspiration. We want to show our community that you can come out of nothing and build a company. And we really wish, and we really hope, and we're really working for, and we know we're going to do it, is to create a big company that Oakland can be proud of. And that's what is really important for us, because we also tend to work with the cannabis industry as well, and that's another aspect that we like to work with. Is we really believe in destigmatizing the whole cannabis industry, especially in our Latin American community, where it's seen as a huge taboo. If anything involving cannabis, for us, we're strong believers in how cannabis has healing powers. It's just as the same as food does. Food is healing. Food is medicine. There's a Chinese proverb that says, "He who takes medicine and not heed the advice of his nutritionist, fails miserably," because food is important. And so that's why we do what we do for us, because we want to show people that there's professionalism in this world.
No, and I love what you're doing, and the giving back is so huge. And even, and part of what's going on there is a destigmatizing of cannabis going on and the health benefits of CBD and things like that. So I think it's just it's part of what it is, and it's education is the biggest part, but also the thing that you're doing in the examples that you're setting and we do as entrepreneurs is it's a lesson you don't learn in schools, and it's a lesson that people can learn on the streets through doing illegal things. You kind of do things that are illegal, but there's no better way to make money than to be an entrepreneur. It's your own life. You get to choose the life that you want to make.
Oh, yeah.
And if you work really hard, you can make money doing it, and you can live the life that you want to. And it may not be as easy as everything else, but the hard work pays off in the long run. And it's just so amazing. And good role models and a successful life and doing things like the world's endless. I don't have to follow the rules, but I get to not follow the rules in an environment as a food entrepreneur and a beverage entrepreneur as Justin Bizzarro to do what I want when I want. And the rules that I live by aren't really anyone's rules. I have to obviously live by the laws of the land, but I get to live by my own rules and create my own businesses. And I die by my failures and survive by my successes. And I need my failures to help me learn for my successes. And that is ultimate freedom, I think. And no one will be happier in their life when they do that. And you're also passing that on and setting it as an example in your communities. And that's what podcast is also about, is how do we help the next generations, and how do we set an example of entrepreneurs, and so people inspire to be entrepreneurs, not just a Facebook or a Mark Zuckerberg or a Google, but like a normal everyday entrepreneur that goes out there every day and has some success and takes care of his family and creates jobs and makes a difference in his community. Because I really do believe that we as entrepreneurs are the most giving. I think we tend to give more. We take care of our employees more. We give to our communities more. We mentor the younger people in our lives better. And we tend to actually also deal with things head on more, because being an entrepreneur, you have so many issues that come at you on a daily basis, or a crisis mode being an entrepreneur, or in your case, an event. That's right. You've got to deal with things so rapidly that we don't let things sit. And I have trouble with this because there's people that I deal with that aren't as entrepreneurial as I am. And I'm like, I have the mentality on my plate, off my plate. So immediately when it comes onto my plate, I got to figure out how to handle it and move forward. And I may make a mistake, but if I do, at least I've made the mistake already and I can pivot from there. And because that's it's just the way we are. And that's important as lessons in our lives, is that we allow ourselves to make a lot of mistakes, but we also are willing to learn from them, not die from them. I said I die from my failures, but what it really is that I'm willing to take the risk, and it's only me who gets to be accountable for the things that happen. And that's so much responsibility learning, and it's important that we learn responsibility and we pass it on to the youth, because I often hear too much, it's not my fault, I'm not to blame. Well, my attitude is sort of this: if you were a part of it, you have a part in the blame. And that goes for me too. It could be in some people's eyes 100% the customer's fault that something went wrong, but there is some part that I can look at that I could have done better, or I communicated better, or I could have done something better. So I do have a part in it. And no matter what it is, I always have a blame. And that's not only for business, that's for my entire life. Right? I'm responsible for something, and I got to take responsibility for my actions and how I affect people. So I love what you guys are doing and how you're really taking care of everything in that environment. So as we sort of wrap this up, the first thing is I'd love to have you guys back on the podcast in about 8 to 10 months and continue to tell your story and your story of growth and some of the other events you did, if you guys would be willing to do that.
Oh, of course. We'd love to. We'd love to come back and talk to you again.
And as we wrap up the episode, is there anything else you guys would like to share and tell the audience or anyone who might be listening? Or I've never said this before, but it just crossed my mind. If anything ever happened to you, is there something you'd want to leave behind on the podcast for someone to hear one day?
For sure. I would like to say that what you said about entrepreneurs being the most giving people, you hit that right on the note, because that is that is what we have the power to do. We have the power to create change. We have the power to make these decisions that affect a lot of people. And for us, we believe it's important that there is equity in sustainable, healthy foods, which is why one of our mission statements is to always work with small organizations in schools or any kind of social groups that approach us and want us to work with them. We never turn them down, no matter how small their budget is, no matter what it is. We've done parties for 300 people where we charge $3 a person, and it was a block party here in Oakland, and that's what we believe is important, to showcase to people in these low income environments what is out there, because we believe that exposure is definitely what is needed for these kids and people who are in these neighborhoods who don't get a chance to see really anything outside of their little world.
Yeah, and for me, to add to that, as an entrepreneur, just know that you can do both. You can charge, for X amount of people. We've done parties in multi-million-dollar homes before, and they're paying a premium price for our services, and we don't, we're happy to charge that, because obviously they're the clientele that can afford that, and that's what they are paying for.
That's what they are receiving.
For the experience, and that's what they receive. But as an entrepreneur, know that you can always do both. You can charge the best prices for the amazing experience you are providing, and at the same time, you can also do the $3 per guest budget for the community church. That's the beauty of being an entrepreneur, being able to do both and doing both equally as proud and giving them the best service you can. And if I learned anything this whole time, something that will always stick in my head the most was a entrepreneur, restaurateur here in the Bay Area, very famous chef here, and he gave a presentation for a small business course that we took, and he said, as someone in the food business, your job is to delight them. Always delight your guests. Just always genuinely delight them. And that was something that has always stuck with me. And I guess the most simple advice I could give to someone like myself that started out pretty green in the food industry is simply just delight your guests and do it from the heart and do it with the best intentions and always, like I said, from the heart, and you'll see that you'll be able to thrive in whatever environment and whatever job and business that you create.
It's a mentality. Being an entrepreneur is definitely is a mentality, and for us, we believe you have to take care of your body, take care of your mind, and after that, everything follows.
Yeah, I think that's so important. Exactly what you said, and then having the flexibility to do the right thing as an entrepreneur. And I do actually believe that eating the right food, and I eat very cleanly, and I make sure I put in my body, and I eat very whole foods, and I don't eat sugar barely, and not a lot of junk food and all of that. And so it's just important to keep your mind and body healthy, and then obviously do that in your actions, right? And give back to people and the people that work hard for you and all the way around. And actually, I always see lead with love and lead with your heart. And it's exactly what the name of your business is. So it's just so cool. It's really just amazing what you guys are doing. And thank you guys again. And anyone in the audience who's in Oakland, I suggest you guys look these guys up, Cocina del Corazon, and that's the kitchen of the heart, I believe, translated. And it's just
correct.
so amazing that that it's just so who you guys are. I mean, it couldn't be more representative of you guys, like I've said before. So anyone in the audience who likes what we're doing, please share the episode. Please look these guys up. Thank you guys for what you're doing out there in the audience and passing it on and sharing the episodes and listening in all over the world. Thank you guys very much. If you guys want to be on the show, you can reach me at justin@thefoodentrepreneurs.com and on social media at Instagram and Facebook at Justin and the Food Entrepreneurs. And guys, I look forward to having you back on the show.
Oh, we look forward to being back on.
Thank you so much, Justin.
Thank you guys, and thank you for coming on and being so proactive in filling out the calendar and getting on the show and being on, and it's been great, and I can't wait to launch it, and I can't wait to have you guys back on.
We're looking forward to it. Maybe next time we'll take a trip over there.
Maybe, or I'll come out to you guys. All right.
There you go.
There we go. All right. Thank you guys, and everyone in the audience, have a great day, and thank you for listening in.